Hello, my name is Andrew, and today we're doing a first impression review of the SOFTSTAR Camino sandal. So a few videos ago, I did a review of the Barefoot sandal. This is a really similar birkenstock strap style type sandal, and it's very lightweight, but it's a little bit more geared towards like weddings and office wear, that type of thing. So I wanted to find something that was a little bit more rugged for a barefoot strap sandal, and the Camino is certainly that, but let's just talk about the toe box to start off. Oftentimes SOFTSTAR is kind of unique because they'll have two widths for their toe box. This is the standard width, and they don't have an extra wide yet for this sandal, but maybe they will eventually, which would be cool. The main difference is the shape in the front. The standard is just a little bit more tapered, but it's still a wide sandal overall. So if you're someone who has a little more squared off shape and you want to try this sandal, I definitely recommend going up a size because it'll just give you a little bit more room if your toes don't go quite to the ends, because this part here is actually quite broad. So in terms of the material, it's leather for the straps, and it's really, really nice quality leather. I like the chocolate color. I think this is the carob, if I'm remembering correctly. And it's actually fairly easy to clean because it's smooth on the outside, but then on the inside, it feels like suede. You know, it's got a little bit softer type feel. So when I took these out for a walk, I didn't have to wear them in at all. They just felt really comfortable right out of the gate. The leather didn't feel hard anywhere. I didn't feel any edges that were rubbing on me. And having wider straps like this can have that effect because when you have more narrow straps, it creates more pressure on the top of your foot, and that can lead to rubbing, etc. But the straps are really nice for security. They also go up a little bit higher on the side, so it holds your foot in place. And like I said, these aren't just for formal affairs, although you could wear them for that because they look very classy. But they've also got the strap in the back, so this adds a little bit of security. This is one issue that I've had with Birkenstocks and also with the sandals. I find myself kind of like slipping out of the back, you know? But another thing the Caminos have is this really nice suede footbed that has a bit of padding, so you can see the squish there. And it's not a ton, so it doesn't feel like a marshmallow sandal. It's got some firmness to it, and then you've got a layer of foam in the middle as well, but it's kind of like a firm foam, so they don't feel squishy whatsoever. They're like a nice supportive sandal, but unlike Birkenstocks, they don't have an arch to them. They're just completely flat, but they do have that little bit of padding, so that's one of the things that I'll be interested to see with these sandals over time is like, do they create sort of like an embedded outline of my foot in there that helps create, you know, a little bit more tension to prevent the foot from slipping around, which is what happened with the Ahinzas and, you know, what kind of happened with Birkenstocks, especially if they're open in the back. So they're kind of like halfway in between like a casual business formal sandal and like an adventure sandal because you've got the strap in the back for more security. And then there's a lot of room here for adjustment. Like Birkenstocks, you can drill extra holes or punch extra holes in there if you need it a little bit tighter or a little bit looser, which is great. There's extra strap, but it's not so much that it's like, you know, if you have more narrow feet like me, it's not like going off the end of the sandal or anything. So I think it looks great the way it is. One other thing to note about the footbed is that they've just added some, it's hard to see here with the straps, but they've just added some little holes here. I think they might be for breathability. I think it opens them up a little bit, or maybe it's just texture, I'm not sure, or it's just a design detail, but something to note. In terms of the sole, I think it's around 20 millimeters, so it is a thicker sandal, but it's actually got quite a good amount of flex vertically, and then horizontally, it's got a moderate amount of flex. I have this sole on some of my other trail running sandals. This is Vibram's 5mm sole, so it's like a good middle of the road, like give you some protection, but it doesn't feel super clunky. And then one of the reasons that this sandal is thicker, like I said, is that it has the 5mm hybrid sole, and then it has a foam midsole, which is just kind of like semi-squishy, and then it's also got just light padding on the top, which is like leather suede. So most of the thickness with this sandal is just kind of squishy, flexible materials, which is why even though it's probably out of the range of what you would consider a barefoot sandal in terms of the thickness, it's got a lot more flex than it would if it was just all rubber. But in terms of the tread, I really like this vibram tread because it's very versatile. When you start to bend the shoe, it really opens up and gives you some good grip going up and down hills because of this zigzag pattern. But then they're close enough where you can also wear it on roads, and I found it to be pretty comfortable for walking. I mean, I'm more of a hardcore minimalist, so I could get away with probably taking out, the foam padding here. I don't think I would need it, but they probably need something in order to stitch the top suede layer too. So I don't know, maybe if they took a few millimeters off this, I think it would make it feel a little bit more flexible, maybe add a little more ground feel in there. You can feel stones that are about this big, so you'll get some ground feel still with the sandal, especially because, like I said, the two top layers are a little bit softer. But if you're someone who's a hardcore minimalist, then maybe this is not the sandal for you. And if SOFTSTAR makes a thinner version in the future, I think that would be really cool. There's lots of directions that they could take this sandal that I think they could offer different versions that would appeal to lots of different people. And then one last thought for this sandal. I like the temperature regulation of suede. I think it works pretty well. It can get dirty, if you get mud on here, it's a little bit more difficult to clean than some other materials, which we'll talk about. But yeah, overall, I think it's a comfy sandal for anyone who wants a little bit of extra padding and protection. If you want something a little bit thinner, this is the Ahinza Barefoot Sandal. It's a vegan sandal, and it's also got an extra wide toe box. So if you're someone who needs a lot of room, this is a great option. This is pretty close to SOFTSTAR's Primal width in some of their shoes, like the Primal Run Amok, which I've reviewed. The material looks like leather, but it is actually a vegan material, synthetic material, and uses recycled components as well. But yeah, it has a nice texture. It doesn't look 100% like leather, but it's pretty close to the point where I've fooled my friends and family in thinking that it's leather. It's just got a little bit more sheen than the SOFTSTARs, but part of that is just the style. SOFTSTARs have a little bit more natural grain type leather, and this, yeah, like I said, it works a little bit more for classy weddings and stuff like that, where you just want something that looks sort of elegant. But the straps also have plenty of room if you want to punch more holes to make it a little more snug. And then, like I said, the back can be an issue if you're planning on going on longer walks, because your foot can kind of slide out of the back. And there's also a little bit of padding in here, but not quite as much as the Camino has. And then coupled with the fact that the vegan leather is just a little bit more smooth, I think it creates a bit more slipping, and then, obviously there's no heel strap. So this is definitely a sandal that you would use if you're like a wedding photographer or you're going to the office or, stuff like that. I wouldn't use it for hiking. But in terms of the sole, it's 8.8 millimeters. It's got a lot of flexibility vertically, and then, it's got some good flex horizontally, not quite as much, but it definitely gets a little more flexible the more you use it, which is what I've found. And then in terms of the vegan leather, it's really easy to clean. So that's one benefit against regular leather, or especially a suede. It has a softer, more textured sole or footbed to it. So you can just wipe these off of a cloth no matter what you get on them, which might be nice for a formal occasion. In terms of the sole, I think it's a 1.8 millimeter sole on the bottom, and then it's 6 millimeters for the padding up top. So it seems like not much, but actually you can hear it. It's got some toughness to it. So I've taken it out on some light trails. As long as you're not going up and down hills, it's fine without having anything in the back. But there are more comfortable options like the Camino for something if you want, longer walks. For an in-between option, this is the Monk Revo. I think it's still a really classy looking sandal. It's nice for casual because it has the open toe strap in the front. It's got a extra wide toe box. I like the little more squared off shape, and definitely gives you a lot of room for toe splay. And then it's got some minimal cord here, which, yeah, it feels fine. It's kind of silky feeling. There's nothing that really rub. For me, I've used them trail running and hiking. It doesn't give you quite as much security as like a thong sandal, but yeah, they work pretty well for something if you want to go on a little bit of hiking, a little bit of walking, a little bit of casual, just kind of everything type sandal. One thing I really like about it is the buckle, and it's just really addictive to have a buckle on a sandal. I don't know why I like it so much, but it's just the sound and the convenience of being able to take that on and off. It's not really necessary because you can slip out of the back, but I just like it. And then it's got a smoother leather upper, which I found that I kind of made a little bit of an indent into, so that gives you a little bit of extra security. And then in terms of the sole, it's 5 millimeters, then there's really just maybe like a millimeter of leather on top of that. So super flexible, very protective sole. It's the same one as the Camino. And you know, it's got that tread which opens up a bit and gives you some grip on both slippery and dry terrain. Finally, I've got the Totem Alpha Black Bear. This is the most technical out of the four. It's still got an extra wide toe box, a little more squared off, which I like. It looks kind of like a Roman soldier sandal. And then it does have a toe thong, but as someone who never liked toe thongs, this is the first sandal where I like really loved having a toe thong, because they use this super soft material that doesn't rub at all, so I don't even notice that it's between my toes most of the time. And then the sandal has a couple other features which I really like. They've got an adjustment in the front, so you can kind of, if you put it towards the front, you just open it up and then it becomes almost like a flip-flop that you can just slip your foot straight into. And then if you want it more snug for like trail running, for example, you can slide it all the way to the back there, and then it creates this really snug closure around your ankle. And then they've got Velcro straps in the back and then over the top, which makes it easy to set up. But honestly, because of the slider design here, I've never touched the Velcro. I just leave it the way it is, and that's really convenient. It also prevents you from wearing the Velcro out. They've got that same material along the posts. The posts are really soft and flexible, which is a problem that can happen with some sandals like Shama. They have these like really hard posts, so that's another thing that I like. And then kind of like Monk, I've worn them in where you can see the outline of my foot, so it's really comfortable that way because it kind of helps hold your foot, and they just feel like they're designed, you know, for my feet now, which is great. They've got the same sole on the bottom, so that 5mm vibram sole with really good versatile grip. So yeah, these are excellent for trail running if you're someone who doesn't need more protection, but you can also use them for casual and more classy stuff too. All right, so that's my first impression review of the SOFTSTAR Camino and Friends, but if you'd like to support the channel, you can shop the referral links down below, browse and filter more products with the shoe finder tool at my website barefootwear.org, or watch my zero drop transition video to learn more about barefooting. Finally, if you have a question about the SOFTSTAR Camino or about barefoot sandals in general, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Peace.